let you guys start with the agenda,
Okay.
and then I'll introduce myself. That's okay.
What we do for that, but there it is. All right, so call to order. I don't know what we do for that, but there it
So
is.
actually, for proposed procedures, you actually have to vote to accept the agenda. For proposed procedures, you actually have to vote to accept the agenda.
Okay
That's
then,
usually the first step.
let's vote to accept the agenda. Okay then, does anybody suggest that? Vote to accept the agenda. Does anybody suggest that? All in favor of the agenda? Aye. All in favor of the agenda? Agenda passes. Aye. Now we can call to order. Agenda passes. Now we can call to order. And do we have any public who wants to make a comment today? And do we have any public who wants to make a comment today? Do we have any board that wants to make a comment today? Do we have any board that wants to make a comment today? Is the comment relevant to the agenda or on anything? Is the comment relevant to the agenda or on anything?
And I do have a comment.
Would be any.
I am confused about our Prince William County Public Library System access. My fellow librarian, the middle school librarian, talked to the youth services librarian, and she talked to her manager, who said that they had no plans to drop us, meaning Manassas Park, from services on June 30th. So that makes me happy. And also there is a streamlined way that is digital because of COVID-19 to get a library card that I would love to get out to the public before June 30th if they're going to continue with services. So I just don't know whether what the status is of services with Prince William County, because they have so many great resources that if we can keep them, I would love to. Absolutely. So I just don't know who to go to have these questions of mine answered.
Would this have to do with the reciprocal agreements?
That's
we
what I
should
was
be
wondering
having
about, yeah.
With other library systems?
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Answer.
If you have an answer, that'd be fabulous. Thank you.
From our understanding, we've been at this for 3 years now with the county. So the first thing that had to be decided on when I first joined the city, I was thrust into a committee that was reviewing what to do with Central. And at that time, the recommendation from Manassas and Manassas Park was each jurisdiction should just have its own library, but we remain one system. But the library board and the board of supervisors went in different directions, said no. And then both City of Manassas and Manassas Park said, okay, then we're getting out. And we were supposed to have a deal done by December. That never happened. So we decided to go our own way. But from continual engagements with the county, right, there was a lag in kind of response because of COVID-19 and everything else. As long as we're accepted into the state system, right, we should be accepted by them, and we will accept them as well. We're going to accept them regardless, just like every other COG jurisdiction does. We're not going to discriminate against Prince William residents, and actually we're going to target those residents as well to join our library when when the downtown library happens, if it's approved this coming Tuesday. That's the main goal. We want to have that as an attraction for the city. So the goal is to be accepted by the state. We're supposed to hear back sometime this month about whether our library system was accepted or not into the state's system of the Commonwealth of Virginia Library, and how much funding we're going to get from the state as well, because we haven't received that information. So yes, the goal is once we're accepted in the state, we're treated just like every other library in Northern Virginia that operates under the COG format. That's what we've been, we certainly want to continue to maximize our services for our residents so they come to our library first. That's the goal. And then ultimately with the downtown library to attract residents in the surrounding county area as well.
So would the Manassas Park library card be the library card of Prince William? That would.
We are now separate. That was one idea that we were throwing out different ideas, And one was where we each have our own library, but we have a common ILS with a common library card. That was the initial idea. We thought the cost of doing that was going to be a lot less, and then they came back with a much higher number, and we said we can't afford that to run our own library plus pay that amount for a common library card. So we're not going to have a common ILS now. LS&S uses the same ILS Polaris as the county, right? So I'm not sure if there can be some, beneficial collaboration from that standpoint, but there's not going to be. You're going to have to get your own Manassas Park City Library card.
But you can then get a Prince William and a Manassas Park
Yeah.
library card.
You can go
Yeah.
to Fairfax County, you
Right.
go to others
I have a
because they're all part of the
Fairfax.
COG, and you can get that. As long, again, will jurisdictions discriminate against our library if we're not doing this properly and not accepted in the state system? Likely. So that has to be the priority, is to get our library up and running and do everything we can to be accepted in the state system and invite members from all their communities as well to our libraries.
If you work in DC, you can get a DC card too.
Yes, that I knew. But I didn't know that I, as a resident of Prince William County, could get one in, say, Fairfax or.
And Arlington and Alexandria and,
I
yeah.
had no idea.
Yep.
Okay, so why didn't we do this before?
Okay.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to your earlier comment, I'm not going to be encouraging everyone, go rush and get a library card from Fairfax County or Prince William. No. Where our official position is, we're encouraging everyone to get a Manassas Park City library card. And to the extent that we're going to coordinate with the Prince William, now still Prince William Manassas system, because Manassas is going to have a library in their city, but it's still Prince William Library in their city. They have to spend some upfront stuff on furniture and equipment, the city of Manassas, and they're still paying their annual fee to the county, but that's still a county library. But those are the two people or two entities that make up the Prince William system. So we'll be collaborating still with both of those jurisdictions. And the goal, we're not looking to be free riders here. We want our library to service our residents. That's our goal.
Right. So that leads to my next comment, which is we as a school system, before this COVID thing, had decided that Find It Virginia was just not doing it for our kids. And we wanted to invest in a database, scholarly journals, in a really sort of user-friendly, searchable format type of thing. So we tested out on a trial basis ProQuest and Gale, and we, the librarians, use it with the kids all year, well, most of the year anyway. And then we gave our recommendations, but now obviously all bets are off. What we used to do was pay into Prince William, as you know. So now, but there were problems with that. So what we're wondering, and Dr. Jackson asked me to ask everybody, is there a way that we could get a paid database that the schools and the community could access at the same time that was really a good scholarly database full of good articles for research?
Before, we can ask LS&S kind of some of their databases and see what can work. So probably a follow-on conversation between our school's administration and Jay and the library team is probably a good idea. What I will say too is the schools and the city can explore using CARES Act money for those purposes specifically. And I know the schools received a separate tranche of CARES Act funding directly from the state, as the city did. The schools was intended for helping them with distance learning, but that's something that we can collaborate on. And the governing body's talking about the CARES Act budget for the city this Tuesday as part of the budget amendment 2 for FY20 and the FY21 budget, because we're actually spending that across. There's a lot of programs in that, but any ideas, any support the schools will need from us, they need to bring that up sooner rather than later, because we're already kind of deciding the CARES Act budget, such as helping out our local businesses, getting back up and running, giving them grant programs, any residents who've seen losses of income because of this. Those are really the two biggest programs that we have, but there's a bunch of other programs involved in that. But so the schools did receive CARES Act funding. And technically, the city's CARES Act funding could also support initiatives, especially if they're benefiting our residents and the school system as well. But I would first recommend that the administration speaks with, reaches out to Jay and the LS&S team and discuss kind of what are some of the databases that we're using first to see if any of those are good enough to service the purpose of the schools, and if not, research the ability to use the school's CARES Act funding for, at least for our students. Because I'd be hesitant to say, we would have to justify why we're using city CARES Act money. We could do it for our students. Unless that database is specifically a response to COVID-19, it would be very hard for us to justify from a citywide perspective using CARES Act money for that database.
Yep. Any
If
other
I could just ask, because I'm taking notes, I'm sorry, what was, I need the names of the people who are bringing up the questions.
I'm Andrea Barbuzza.
Awesome. Andrea, thank you.
I did have a quick question, unrelated. I'm Anne Marie Stewart.
Bring your mic down.
I'm Anne Marie Stewart. I've had some folks in the community ask me about donations to the library already. I'm wondering if and or when that might possibly be something that's in the works.
Do you have that one too, Laszlo?
I do not have that one.
I mean, because, yeah, I was curious as well, since in the papers we've got, it talks about donations.
Yep.
So Jay or LS&S, that would be one for you.
I can speak to that if you don't mind. Is it donations of items or donations of funding?
Items, in my case anyway.
So I think ready to accept donations fairly soon. We'll have staff in the building hopefully starting July 7th, and I would probably wait until, unless it's a really large donation, I would wait until we're a little closer to opening so that we can receive them and store them properly. While we're trying to kind of get the library up and going, I don't think, just yet we would be prepared on top of everything else.
I'd probably prefer that we wait until we have staff there, so
Yeah.
July 7th. I know someone earlier asked about opening. Here's where we're at right now. So this coming Monday, City Hall will be reopening to the public, but in a socially distanced way. So we're going to actually have line control and 6 feet of distancing for residents coming in to City Hall. The remaining public facilities will remain closed because most of them are still open by appointment, right? But they'll remain closed through the phase 2. So the governor is moving Northern Virginia into phase 2, the economy, this coming Friday. We want to see as a city kind of how we're going to do. We've been tracking the numbers for cases, percent positives, which is really the critical piece, impacts to local hospitals, and the death rates. And the numbers have been looking better, except for hospitalizations have kind of flattened out a little bit. But the numbers have been looking better, but we want to at least give it 30 days in phase 2 and see what happens with the data before we're ready to move forward with our own phase 3. The governing body is likely meeting, their meeting in July is usually the 3rd Tuesday of July, so that'd be July 21st, which is where I present the data on what's happened over the last month from June 15th to that period, and then my recommendation at that point to either reopen the community center, the water park, the library, open the library, all those things. That decision will likely be made on July 21st, unless miraculously the virus just continues to decline rapidly and goes away. We're starting to see, I was on a national call yesterday, that you are starting to see a resurgence, unfortunately, in certain areas. So we may be stuck in phase 2 for a while. Phase 2 is kind of a good balanced approach where things are still open, but you have some social distancing still going on. It'd be hard to go back to further closings, but that's at least the goal right now, is to keep City Hall open, but the other facilities, we want to open those once we're really ready to move into what's called phase 3, and that includes the library. So the library will open at the same time that the community center opens. The water park, we're not sure if they're going to allow that or not, but the goal would be to open up the water park at the same time. Right now, we're looking most likely August 1st as a realistic date for reopening of those facilities, including the library. Okay. But as LS&S stated, they'll have staff on board early July, and we're going to be looking to engage with the community for the electronic library services before we actually physically open as well.
Okay, so donations holding off.
One of the people I was speaking with is moving in July, and she was hoping to donate things before she left, so that may,
And it would be
Not
nice to
work.
see an increase in the adult books.
right.
Oh, definitely.
Anyway, other commentary from the board. Maybe you had more, I'm sorry.
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
Are these books that she's?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's moving when? Before?
Sometime in July.
Sometime in July. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what her
That
date
should
is
work
at this
then.
point.
So we'll have staff there, right after, probably after 4th of July.
Okay,
So that would be a good time.
Good enough.
And at that point, I'll just reach out to Jay and see if he can help coordinate the logistics for that.
okay.
All right. If there are no other comments from the board members, then Director. I assume that's you.
So director's after Jay, I'm assuming?
I think there's something about Holly after.
Okay, the library director, so that would be Holly.
So typically, this is where the library director would speak because we've just hired Holly. We're so excited. And she's here on the call. So she might just say hello today, but obviously she doesn't have too many comments. Holly, can you hop on?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Holly Ritchie. I'm super excited to be selected as the library director.
You fell off our screen.
There you are.
There you are.
Welcome aboard.
Hello everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
So we got your resume. I'm just curious, you've done a lot of moving around. Are you in Virginia now?
Yes, I am in Virginia now.
Okay. And you will physically work in the library on a regular basis?
Correct.
Okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Unfortunately, I do not, but it is on my list of things that I would like to learn. I've already started to learn via Duolingo, the app.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a great point from the chair, that we need to make sure with staffing that we at least do hire someone that does speak Spanish, because most of our customer service entities, at least that I have control over, I don't have control over all of them, but for the ones that we have control over from a city staff perspective, we usually hire someone who does speak Spanish, since that's such a big population in our city.
Okay. Agenda changes and approval. I guess we already approved the agenda. Okay. Minutes approval. Do we have the minutes? I don't recall the minutes from last time. Did those ever get issued?
Did you all send out the minutes?
Somebody on the phone last time was taking minutes for us. I don't think we received those in our packet.
Hi all, this is Debbie Joy from LS&S. I did take minutes last time, and I think that you're correct. I think that I did not include them in the packet, so please accept my apologies. We'll get those out to you tomorrow morning, and maybe perhaps we could approve them at the next meeting. Would that be okay?
Sure. We'll add it to next time's agenda.
There is in
Okay.
the email,
Thank you.
I think there is a package of meeting with, what's the, not Debbie. It's Friday, last Friday.
The packet came out on Friday, yeah, but I don't recall the minutes being in there. I saw, okay,
And if
okay,
they're not in the packet, you probably shouldn't vote.
okay. All right, so we're going to skip that one for now. We'll go to the reports. Okay, Jay, construction update, please.
Good evening, everyone. So there have been a number of renovations that have taken place thus far, and still a couple that are kind of on deck to occur. But all in all, things are coming along very nicely. We've had all of the walls on the inside and out, all of the trim work has been repainted. Window frames have been either replaced or repaired. We've got all new vinyl flooring in the kitchen area, which is very nice. The window that was added to provide a nice sight line across the library to kind of mitigate any type of issues with not having a good line of sight on children in the library. That's been installed and put in place. Landscaping has been significantly improved, and it's not done yet. I'm real happy with how that's come along so far. I don't know if many of you noticed the way it looked 2 or 3 months ago. It's definitely been a marked improvement. That'll continue. We're waiting until we get a little closer to opening to put down a fresh thing of mulch in the front, just so that it kind of pops. But we've done a lot of cleaning around the beds, and we have a sign on the way tomorrow. The sign, wayfinding signs will be arriving, but in particular the large entrance sign we'll be getting tomorrow. We probably won't install that right away, just because again we want to get everything else in place. But real happy with that. Again, a real big kudos to LS&S on the design work, the logo, and just the way the color scheme and the everything just really came together nicely. So I'm really pleased with the look of the signage. Let's see what else. Power washing on the back and all over the front of the building. We're in the process. We had one toilet replaced already. A couple other units have been repaired. We will be doing a deep cleaning once we get very close to opening, but we're kind of waiting until everything's unpackaged and we kind of, so we don't have, stuff from the boxes and debris getting tracked in. But that's going well. I think I went over earlier this week and we only have, I think, 2 items outstanding that still need to be delivered. Our teams put together everything that has been delivered. There are 2 items that LS&S will be installing, most notably the shelving, which is pretty complex and one of the bigger items. And I think that's projected to arrive sometime in the next week or so, a couple of days. So that I'm meeting them next week, Colin with LS&S and his team, to kind of get that taken care of. Just a few outstanding items in terms of renovation. We are looking at the HVAC units. Our facilities manager for the city is looking at that, because we do have a little bit of a hiccup with the cooling right now in one of the HVAC units, and we're going to get that rectified as soon as possible. And the only other item was, let's see, the final application of mulch for the main entrance. Other than that, we're coming along very nicely and should definitely have no problems having everything ready to roll by July 1. I know that's not when we're officially opening, but we will be ready by then, without a doubt. So,
Nice.
great. Thank you.
I have
Where is the exact location of the library?
I'm sorry?
Where is the exact location?
9701 Manassas Drive.
Oh, okay.
It's the old General's Ridge Clubhouse.
Have you been to the Blooms Park, the new big park?
The golf course?
Okay, last night I was here for the election officer meeting, and they say the library moved to the new City Hall building. Is that true?
No, so
Not right
now.
what they're talking about there is the future downtown. I think I don't know if they were confused in what they were saying, but
Yeah.
if the new downtown development deal is approved, then yes, the library will then migrate to the new City Hall building. It's a three-story building. You'll have a first level piece of the library connected to a private coffee shop, and we're going to have some connectivity there.
Like the picture
And then a
shows.
second floor library component overhanging both the ground floor library and the coffee shop as well. So that will move from the Blooms Park facility, where the library is going to be on a transitional basis until the downtown happens, if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, then we're likely keeping it there, but unless we get additional kind of public demand to have something on the other side as well, we may do another smaller one at the community center. We're going to have to kind of hear back from the public and see, because that was not intended to be a permanent solution. Blooms Park was supposed to be a transitional solution until we got the downtown library, which is more robust.
So are they only using that main building there when you come into the parking lot that's facing the parking lot?
Mhm.
Because I know that there are a couple other buildings.
Yeah, it's
there.
not where the driving range was, and it's not the golf cart storage, and it's not the other building over there. It's
that, okay, yeah, because I
The
looked
other
in.
ones are storage units essentially for the city.
The other thing is, what's the date for the ribbon cutting?
I think as far as like an official ribbon cutting, we did speak with LS&S about that, probably 4 or 6 weeks ago. I think that's something we will probably wait and do a little bit after the official opening, just because it is so difficult to kind of project when the official opening will occur, that we thought it might be nicer to wait a little bit, maybe into the fall, to kind of have more time to plan and coordinate.
Okay.
And we may have to do a small one if there's still a COVID-19 issue.
Will there be a chance for the board to see the facility before it's open?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I certainly have no problem with.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm personally over there usually several days a week, so I'm happy to coordinate whenever. I'm happy to meet. Just let me know.
That would be nice.
Sure.
How's the vandalism been? Because I know that the windows have been broken a couple of times already since the golf course closed.
I'm glad you reminded me. I left one item off here. Two of the doors, the glass in the doors have been replaced as well. Forgot that. Honestly, after that issue, we haven't had any other problems. And I don't know if we could 100% confirm that was vandalism. I know someone had mentioned they thought it might have been a rock that was projected from one of the lawnmowers when they were mowing, or one of the lawn trimmers.
That was a big old break for that, but
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But I do know that we haven't had any repeat issues since then. So
Okay.
cross my fingers that we'll continue.
I would just hate to get too much in there
Yep.
and then have it get even worse, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. And one other item that reminds me, we are also, we've been in contact with a security vendor, we're going through the process with that vendor to basically get security cameras and, an intrusion system installed. Just going kind of through some of the verbiage in the contract right now and kind of dotting our I's and crossing our T's on that type of stuff. But we will have a robust security system in place, by the time we open as well.
Good.
All right, thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks, Jeff. All right. We're going over to Sarah then for the library opening prep update.
Hi, everyone. So, I might have to look at the screen in the screen. My name is Sarah. I am the Director of Library Operations. So I get to work with libraries across the country on lots of fun projects, and this one has already been very fun and very challenging. So I was the one who sent that huge packet, put together the huge packet for you. This is kind of standard for what we like to do. So we'll just go through the packet and then we'll get to the action items. If you have any questions, just interrupt me. So a staffing update, we have hired all of the staff. I am excited to say we have 2 of our positions have worked in other public libraries locally, so they're aware of what's available and what the community is like. One does speak Spanish, so we always look for that. And another is in library school. So we have a group, along with Holly, a group of really passionate library lovers. So that's a key hiring function for us. So we're good on the staff. We're preparing to train them. We've got all kinds of plans already. So that's looking really good. So you have Holly's resume at the beginning of the packet.
Yep.
And it's a nice variety there. And then the collection update. Did you have a question? Okay. And I included the collection update. I do have a little more information that came in yesterday. So happy to answer any questions. We tried to really break out exactly what we've purchased and what we'll be ready to put on the shelf. There is one point about the electronic collection. So we've decided on those, where we talk about the 37,000 e-audiobooks through RB Digital. So that's a very popular vendor in libraries. You may have used RB Digital before. Tons of audiobooks that you can listen to, so easy on any device. So we're excited about that. We also have the ebooks that we've added. They're actually more for children. So we have a lot of ebooks for K through 8. And we'll be adding some more here and there as we figure out what the population responds to. But that's very exciting. Because we know there's a homeschool, there are kids in school, we really want to focus on the families. And we have added something called BrainFuse. So this is a online tutoring for children, well, really for any age, up through college and beyond. And anyone can log on. A lot of our libraries have found a lot of success with BrainFuse. if you're having trouble with your math homework, you can log on for free, get out your library card, and there will be a tutor there to help you through it. So it's really an excellent product if it's marketed and used appropriately. There's a little bit about language learning and a little bit about career development in that database as well. So I wanted to let you guys know, I heard your comments about things beyond Find It Virginia. So I'm interested in hearing more about that. I know that we talked about, or you guys talked about partnering with the schools, which is key. That would be great. So we're happy to continue to have those discussions as we purchase appropriate materials.
Sarah, who can I tell Dr. Jackson to contact, and what would be the contact information? Dr. Jackson is our supervisor of student learning
Okay.
in the schools.
You can definitely kind of following everything through Jay. So if you want to put him through Jay, we'll get it taken care of on our end if that's okay with you, Jay.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
We can just kind of figure out. Yeah, it's great. So we are always researching like what are the kids learning and how can we help. So we would be interested in that conversation.
And I'd ask that we hold on until early July when we have staff on board here help out to facilitate that process, because I don't want to overwhelm Jay, who has too many functions besides just the library as well. So we officially open our library in July. That's when we kind of get the full services. So I would hold off on.
Even though you said CARES Act sooner rather rather than
the more I
later.
thought about it, there's nothing we can do for the general public for that. From the schools, it's fine. I would first ask that the schools evaluate their own CARES Act money, right, and then they can talk to us.
Okay. After July.
Okay. And that was you, Andrea?
Yes, Andrea.
Sorry. Okay, Andrea, got it. Okay. Any questions about the collection update or the staffing update?
Yeah, does the Brain Fuse have a fee to the city?
We do pay for that platform through the library budget, yes. It's just a flat rate for the year.
And what percentage of the collection budget does that use?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'll get back to you on that. Percentage of the budget.
Well, I see a lot for kids. I'm not seeing a lot for adults out of this, especially since you mentioned the ebooks really are for children as well. So I'm just curious what we're doing for the adults in the community.
Okay. I'll get with our collection team and get back to you on that. That's okay.
Sure. And then I just also wanted to pass along, it sounds like purchased is past tense, so these things have happened, but we did get input from one member of the community via email who wants to make sure that as this collection is built, that we make sure we're addressing the needs of the entire community, not just one or another focus area. Specifically, it was a multicultural interest that was voiced, so I want to make sure we pass that along as the collection is built out.
Great. Thank you for that. I'll pass that along as well. Okay. Great. The next item on the agenda is the website and marketing update. So we just wanted to touch on this. We have great marketing team experts who are working on this. You see the mock-up of the website, and that's what we want it to look like. That's how we designed it perfectly. It's being built out, so it will flow with the city's site. All the colors look really great. The logo is really nice. So we plan to launch the website on July 1st. So that's our goal right now, and we'll talk a little more about that later. We have just kind of a brief marketing update. We do have a startup plan that we're working through. As mentioned, we're going to work with Parks and Rec staff. We had a call with Lauren Luck today. It was really positive in how we're going to reach out to the established contacts that Parks and Rec has. And we'll start kind of sending out some positive messaging around how to access the library and what's coming. So the goal is if we open August 1st, that, by that first kind of week, we would at least be offering some type of virtual program. A lot of our libraries, we're offering all kinds of neat things, online story times, escape rooms. One library is doing drive-up bingo. Like, we're doing a lot of really fun stuff during this kind of hectic time. So we're open to those suggestions. We want to wait till we get staff on board and we get them trained and we can kind of move forward with those things. But all of that will be a big part of the website, so in the marketing plan. So that is that.
Question about the website. I see blocks for movies and music, but I don't see those on the collection list. Is that something we will have at opening or no?
Oh, good catch. I don't believe we will have those. I think that those are just placeholders, and we'd more likely have in that spot, now that we know we're going to have a lot of audiobooks, we have those listed there.
Okay.
So that'll change out. Okay, and then as far as social distance protocols, we're following the state library's lead as well as the governor in all the phases. I know that we are installing, or Jay's team is working on sneeze guards and stuff like that. We've already ordered a lot of supplies. When the staff are on board and we are training, they will be distant from each other. We are doing all these measures at all of our libraries. We are definitely following along with the state of Virginia. They put out a lot of great information about how to keep your staff and patrons safe. So that is, of course, our number one priority, and we've talked a lot about that with, all of our libraries. So it's on our mind for sure that all staff will have face masks and be required to wear them. So if you have any other concerns or questions about that, just let us know. But we're trying to cover all of our bases.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great.
Okay, any other questions for Sarah about what's going on with the library? We good? Okay. Our action items then, some policies have been, I think, written in some cases, perhaps revised. We have got one in the packet related to laptop checkout.
Are those laptops, do they exist yet?
Yes, I believe they've actually already been delivered.
Great.
How many?
And
Did you say 10?
yes.
Thank you.
If you need more, talk to the schools. We refurbish and donate.
Ah,
In
nice.
fact, yeah, we have tons just sitting on a shelf waiting to be given out.
Wow.
Because we didn't do our giveaway this year because of COVID.
Did everybody have a chance to read the laptop checkout policy? I assume at this point, Laszlo, we're going through this like we did the last time and just making a recommendation to the governing body on reviewing these new policies? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we can, that'd probably be the best way to do it. So if you want to tell Sarah, I don't think she can hear me, to bring that up on the screen, and just whenever you have specific points, you can.
Okay, Sarah, so you're taking over as editor-in-chief here of the policy based on any feedback in the discussion, if you would, please. So the first one up is the laptop checkout. Did everybody have a chance to read through this? Any feedback on laptop checkout or the usage rules that went with it?
The earphone or headphone thing might be a little problematic because some people will want to listen to things that make noise.
Right, well, you can bring your own as far as I understand it. I mean, it's kind of a hygiene thing, too. Is there an amendment to the policy that you'd like to suggest?
Well, in our school, we have headphones for checkout as well. I mean, I don't know if that, you can just leave it and change it if it becomes a problem, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to make it.
Be an opportunity for the library to sell some cheap headphones to people who don't remember to bring them.
Oh, that's true too. They're, you know,
Just like the airlines.
they're a dollar at
Right.
the dollar store.
Right.
The ones that don't fit the check.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like the policy's going to stay as is, but perhaps there's a marketing opportunity there. Any other thoughts on that one, or can we move on to the next one? Okay. So,
I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to find the spot in here.
Yeah.
It said that they could add things to the laptop, they could use their own devices. Was there anything about USBs or similar?
so I think you're at the last paragraph, I'm sorry, second paragraph, last sentence, that you can connect things with a USB connection, including the
There we
flash
go.
drive.
Yeah. I hope we have some serious virus protection if
Had
we're
the
letting
same
people put
reaction.
put their own USB flash drives in.
We have a software called Deep Freeze that completely wipes everything that the person just did and resets the computer. So yes, we have a lot of computers all over. So yes, we are always concerned about that.
Good enough?
Thank you. Okay, the next one was the social media policy. Anybody have feedback on this one? Okay, so I'm assuming this is like the Facebook website, or Facebook page rather, and the website if it allows commenting.
Correct.
Okay. All right. No comments on that one. The collection usage rules. So now we start to get into how long can you have it and what happens notice-wise and such.
I'm curious if the total number of items per card and the maximum number of renewals, is that in keeping with other local jurisdictions, or is that, it seems like it's a smaller amount in both cases.
Probably because of less books in the collection,
That could be,
my guess.
that could be. There may be some confusion from the public, though, who are used to Prince William County that,
Prince William, I believe you can have 150 items per card.
Yeah, we'd lose a lot of the library very quickly.
Right.
Especially in the summer.
it may be something to keep an eye on going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Library card guidelines are in there, fines and fees are in there, regulations as well. No comments on all that? We'll go on to facilities use. Lobbies and common areas. And then meeting rooms has some additional information in there from last time. All right, library grounds, displays and exhibits and public art. All right, we're cruising. Addendum E is the fines and fees section. So the laptop replacement was added. There is no interlibrary loan. And then the meeting room fees are here as well.
So I just want to make one comment about the interlibrary loan. The state of Virginia only allows you to cover the cost of, or to charge the cost of postage for interlibrary loans. And so we're working through some of that. We're looking at what other libraries are charging. I've seen $3 and I've seen $5. We have to figure, I'm working with OCLC. So this will come back to you again when we figure out, you know, kind of the lowest amount we can charge that makes sense. But we wanted to take it out for now until we have the service fully thought out with the policy and the procedure and the cost. So that may come back, or we will come back to you.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, carrying on, collection development. So there's a new section in there about reconsideration. No comments? All right. I believe that I need a motion to accept these and recommend them to the governing body.
Motion?
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Who made the motion in the second?
Anne Marie made the motion and Robin second.
Great.
I thought Robin. Anyway.
I did too.
Okay, sorry. All right, so all in favor of recommending these to the governing body?
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. There are no nays. I had a question. I don't know where the list of things came from that we just reviewed as far as the guidelines. I had thought that I saw an update online about a month ago, or no, 2 months ago, because it was after our meeting, that said the governing body had adopted something about naming rights for the library and had a big conversation about donation amounts and connection to the city. And do you know more about that, Laszlo?
Yes. So it was part of the same document, the policies that you all had reviewed.
Right.
It was, I think the one amendment maybe that they made was that they clarified under the donations portion of the policies that there would be no expectation of naming if someone donates, right? We're going to make it clear that there's no expectation of naming a facility or anything like that after a person. Anyone making such a request like that, though, we would notify the governing body for consideration, but their current policy is not to do that. But that's
So
what
that,
they're doing.
that was an actual amendment then to the, so that didn't come in our packet either.
What's that?
I didn't see that in those revisions that we just went through.
This is a different, I'm not sure this one included that.
Right.
That was like bylaws and.
Yeah.
It's because we're
these
making
weren't the
recommendations
bylaws.
to them, and they've already agreed on that, so.
Oh, so yeah, there's no circle back to us to let us know how it got passed?
I would engage with the mayor on that one and
Okay.
as chair to.
I get your point, like, we don't have a say-so once we make a recommendation,
I think
but,
it's good for you guys to maintain that communication and see kind of what's.
yeah, it just happened to show up in my inbox that I know about it, otherwise,
Report on it, I guess, in the article.
Exactly.
I don't know how they, why they
Yeah,
focus on that, but.
it kind of would seem that the board should hear about those decisions before everybody else does, at least so that
well,
we're
or
aware
at
of
least
them.
it's on
Yeah.
part of the circle. So I will, yes, engage with the mayor to find,
Meeting, though, so that's the thing. So
agreed, yep,
People
fair.
are watching it, the reporter, I think, was listening in because they wrote about other things that night as well.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, if there are no other items, how about a motion to adjourn? Robin, thank you. Anyone else?
Second?
We'll give the second to Andrea this time. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody on the phone.